Okay, so let's unpack this. Just imagine a high school, right? But it's not just about, grades and sports. It's more like a brutal testing ground
Right.
for surviving in a super competitive world. A
Exactly.
place where, like, every single interaction, every point you get or lose could actually decide your future. We got this stack of really fascinating sources about the start of year 2 at this place, Advanced Nurturing High School.
And what's so wild is how the school just flips the whole idea of education on its head. It's less about lectures and textbooks
Mhm.
and way more about this complex, super high stakes simulation of life itself.
Hmm.
It pushes these students, really pushes them.
So our mission today is to deep dive into all this material you sent over, pull out the key stuff, the surprises, the strategies playing out behind the scenes as they start year 2.
Yeah, we'll look at the new school systems, these intense class rivalries, and there's even this hint of a hidden agent, someone with a pretty mysterious, maybe even dark agenda.
Okay, first things first. For anyone who's maybe new to
Yeah.
this very unique school, let's quickly set the scene again.
Sure. So this is not your average high school. Students live on campus in dorms for 3 whole years, and they're totally cut off from the outside world. No phones to call home, nothing like that.
Wow. Isolated.
Completely. And they get these private points. Think of it like digital cash.
Yeah.
And the amount they get is tied directly to their class points. 1 point is 1 yen, so it's real value.
And these class points,
Yeah.
this is where it gets really intense, right?
Huh.
Because they dictate your actual monthly allowance.
Exactly. If your class has, say, 1,000 class points, every student gets 100,000 yen that month, which is a lot.
Yeah.
But if your class points drop to 0, your allowance is 0 too, gone.
Ouch. And the stakes are just
Yeah.
unbelievably high.
Mhm.
If you can't adapt, if you fail these special exams they have, you're expelled. That's it. Doesn't matter how smart you are or how good at sports.
No mercy. And the school, it seems like they intentionally mix up all sorts of personalities, quirks, abilities, everything into these classes. A through D forces them to compete, but also somehow cooperate.
To prep them for the real world, I guess, that competitive society.
That's the stated goal, yeah, to prepare them for that harsh reality.
And the sources really hammer home how crucial these rules are.
Yeah.
Like from day one. Remember last year, our main guy, Ayanokouji Kiyotaka, he was in Class D.
Right, the bottom feeders initially.
They started with 1,000 points, same as everyone. But lots of them just went on spending sprees, showed up late, slept in class. They thought the school was just really chill, maybe even careless.
Uh-huh. Which makes you wonder, right? Was that early freedom? Was it a test?
Seems like it.
The sources pretty much say Class D bombed that first special exam because they totally missed the point. They didn't grasp this wasn't just normal school anymore. They failed to see the game.
Okay, so fast forward. Second year starts. Little changes like digital blackboards, tablets instead of textbooks.
Yeah, showing the school's always evolving, always tweaking the system.
But the big one, the real game changer, is this OAA app, the Overall Ability Assessment.
Oh, yeah. This isn't just some minor update. It fundamentally changes how students are seen, how they're measured.
Explain that. What does it actually do?
So this app, it calculates and then just displays everyone's scores, every single student, all grades. And it breaks it down. Academic ability, physical ability, adaptability, societal contribution, and then an overall score.
So wait, your performance is just out there
Mm.
for everyone, like stats in a video game.
Exactly like that. Public display. Director Nagumo apparently sees it as, true meritocracy. Your value right there on the screen.
Wow. But doesn't that create, insane pressure and maybe make the gaps between students even more obvious, more brutal?
Oh, absolutely. Huge pressure. On one hand, yeah, it's meant to push students to try harder to improve, but it also instantly flags the kids who are struggling, the potential expulsion candidates, right? Puts them under a microscope.
And you mentioned societal contribution.
Right. What's interesting there is that unlike academics or physical skill, which take time, you can supposedly boost your societal contribution score pretty quickly just by changing your attitude.
So fitting in, playing the social game, is maybe even more important than raw talent.
It definitely seems like the school values that highly.
Yeah.
Conformity, social maneuvering.
Yeah. And we see examples in the sources.
Mm-hmm.
Like Hirata Yusuke in Class 2D, he's got the top score. No big surprise there. He's kind of the golden boy.
Right. But then you've got students like Ike and Eri. They're near the bottom, and they're obviously super anxious about what this new transparency means for them. Penalties, maybe?
Yeah, you can feel their stress. And then there's Sudo Ken. He works so hard to get his grades up.
He really did. Big improvement
Right.
academically.
He still struggles with that societal contribution bit. It's wild that he scores lower there than Koenji Rokusuke.
Koenji, the ultimate problem child in so many ways. Completely self-absorbed, uncooperative.
But apparently better at contributing than Sudo sometimes. It's bizarre.
Well, Koenji just does whatever he wants, which maybe paradoxically means he isn't actively causing trouble in the same way Sudo sometimes did with his temper. Hard to figure out Koenji.
He's definitely an enigma. A secret weapon, the sources call him. Amazing academic and physical scores, but terrible adaptability, zero cooperation. Horikita must tear her hair out.
You can imagine. And then there's that special case, Sakayanagi Irisu from Class 2A. Because of her physical disability, her physical score is just automatically set to the lowest in the grade.
Right, so this ranking, this OAA app, it's not just informational. It's setting the stage for future problems.
Definitely. It makes it crystal clear who's vulnerable if, or rather when, a really tough special exam comes along. The school even sort of hints that low scores could mean penalties down the line. The heat is on.
Okay, so speaking of exams,
Mm-hmm.
the first big challenge of year 2. A written special exam, but totally different from before.
Yeah, this one's a curveball. Second-year students have to partner up with first-year students.
Whoa, okay, that is new. They haven't really mixed grades like that before, have they?
Very rarely. It's a significant shift.
So why? What's the school's angle here? Why force them to pair up across grades?
Well, the official line, according to the sources, draws this comparison to grade skipping in some Western countries. It's about forcing them to adapt, learn to cooperate with people outside their immediate age group or class. Like in a real company, maybe.
Okay, makes sense. Preparing them for diverse teams.
Right. And the exam itself is described as extremely tough. But interestingly, it's designed so even the lowest ranked students, the E rank ones, could probably scrape together 150, maybe 200 points with just minimal effort.
But the passing score is 501.
Exactly. So the real danger isn't just failing individually. It's if two really low ability students get stuck together, they could absolutely drag each other down below that 501 threshold.
Ah, so the partnership choice is critical.
Absolutely critical. And this immediately sparks different strategies from the different class leaders. It's fascinating to watch.
Okay, let's break that down. Class 2B, Ikino's Honami's class.
They go for the friendly approach, a big meet and greet in the gym, trying to build relationships, build trust. Ichino's is even focused on helping her weaker classmates find decent partners, not just grabbing the best first years for her top students.
That sounds nice. Almost too nice for this school.
It's very Ichino's, right? Based on trust and compassion, which, yeah, contrasts sharply with others.
Like Ryuan Kakaru in Class 2C. What's his move?
Oh, Ryuan goes full aggressive.
Ugh.
Pure intimidation and market manipulation. He uses threats, tries to start a bidding war, offering huge amounts of private points, like up to 500,000 per partner, to lure the talented first years.
500,000 points. Where's he getting that?
He's not. That's the thing. He's apparently bluffing, pretending he has points he doesn't, just to drive up the price and mess with everyone else. Classic Ryuan.
Wow. Okay, Chaos Agent. What about Class 2A, Sakanagi's class?
You're playing it cool. Very calm, very strategic. They seem totally confident in their class's reputation that the best first years will naturally want to partner with them.
They almost seem amused by Ryuan's antics.
Yeah, the sources suggest they see his chaos as actually helpful in the long run. It exposes weaknesses, makes other classes spend points foolishly. They're playing the long game.
And Class 2D, Horikita and Ayanokouji.
They're more focused, maybe more pragmatic. They need to secure partners, especially for their own weaker students like Sudo. They're aiming for collaboration, not just buying talent. Horikita's actually out there trying to talk to students from Class 1B and 1D, build some kind of rapport.
It's interesting, though. These first years, the sources say they're different. Not as clueless as the current second years were when they started.
Right. They seem to grasp the system, the point economy much faster. They know they have value in this partnership market, and they're not afraid to leverage it.
Why is that? How are they so clued in already?
Well, that's a big question. There's speculation, right? That maybe someone inside the school, maybe staff, is feeding them information, giving them a heads up on how things really work.
That would be a twist.
And it's worth remembering, they started with only 800 class points, not the full 1,000 like the year before. So the pressure was on them from day one, a tougher start.
Okay, so let's meet some of these intriguing first years Ayanokouji encounters. First up, Housen Kazumi, Class 1D.
Oof. Yeah, this guy sounds like trouble. Introduced as really violent, aggressive. Apparently, Akito even knew of him from back home, infamous for beating up a gang leader or something.
Yikes.
And he immediately took charge of his class using threats, demanding that huge 500,000 points for any partnership.
A real piece of work.
Oh.
Then there's his classmate, Nana Tsubasa, also 1D.
She's the opposite on the surface, polite, well-spoken, good grades, a B in academics, and she openly says she opposes Hausen's violence, won't yield to it.
Okay.
But Ayanokouji finds her off. Too direct, maybe. He's immediately suspicious, thinks she could be the White Room agent.
Interesting. Her niceness makes her more suspicious to him.
Given his background and what he's expecting, yeah, possibly. It might seem like an act.
Then there's Amasawa Ichika from Class 1A. She seems bubbly, enthusiastic.
Very direct, yeah. Walks right up to Ayanokouji. But her condition for partnering with Sutu is weird. She wants Ayanokouji to cook for her.
Cook for her. Okay, that's random.
Right. She seems like a normal, maybe slightly quirky high school girl. But again, her directness, her knowledge, Ayanokouji is wary. Another suspect on his list.
And Yagami Takuya, Class 1B, he knows Kushida.
Apparently from junior high. And seems like a decent, well-spoken guy. But his arrival clearly rattles Kushida. He might know her secrets, her hidden dark side.
The past coming back to haunt her. That adds another layer of tension.
For sure. And finally, Tsubaki Sakurako from 1C. She also approaches Ayanokouji.
Why is that suspicious?
Well, her academic rank is just a C, and Ayanokouji thinks, given the other students still available, why would she specifically approach him? It just fuels his paranoia about who the White Room sent.
Okay, so this brings us to the core hidden plot line. Ayanokouji himself. He's not just some average, quiet student.
No, not even close. He's the masterpiece, supposedly, from this secret, brutal training place called the White Room. He's been trying to live a normal school life, blend in.
But he finds it tedious, right? Maintaining the act.
Yeah, it seems exhausting for him. And critically, he believes someone from the White Room, another student, has been enrolled specifically to get him expelled.
So every interaction with a new first year, especially ones who approach him directly, like Nanase and Amasawa, is filtered through that suspicion. Who is the agent?
Exactly. He's constantly analyzing, looking for tells.
Which leads to this insane confrontation with Hausen. It wasn't just a random fight.
Not at all. The sources describe Hausen grabbing Ibuki, assaulting Sudu and Horikita, deliberately escalating things to force Ayanokouji to intervene.
Why? What was Hausen's goal?
Ayanokouji figures it out instantly. Hausen wanted to provoke him, then frame him. The plan was apparently to get Ayanokouji into a fight, and then Hausen would get stabbed with a knife Hausen had set up for Ayanokouji to buy earlier, making it look like Ayanokouji attacked him.
Frame him for assault to get him expelled. Wow, that's elaborate.
A calculated trap. But Ayanokouji, well, he does something completely unexpected.
What does he do?
He lets Hausen stab him. With the knife. In his own hand.
Why would he do that?
Pure strategy. By letting Hausen stab him, he ensures both their fingerprints are on the knife, and the evidence the knife itself is literally embedded in his own body. It flips the whole situation. Now, Hausen is the one who looks guilty of assault. He's totally exposed unless he plays ball. Ayanokouji has him cornered.
Incredible. So Ayanokouji uses being stabbed as leverage.
Precisely. And his condition for keeping quiet isn't revenge. It's forcing Hausen to agree to a fair, cooperative partnership deal with Horikita's class. He turns the attack completely to his class's advantage.
That's cool and brilliant.
It really is. But then comes the biggest bombshell. Acting director Tsukishiro talks to Ayanokouji.
What does he say?
He confirms it. Yes, a White Room agent was sent. Yes, they were supposed to use this special exam to get Ayanokouji expelled, but the agent ignored the orders.
Ignored them. So the agent didn't try to expel him, even with the Hausen setup.
Apparently not, which shatters Ayanokouji's idea that the agent and Tsukishiro are working together seamlessly.
Whoa! Okay, that changes things. So after all that drama, what actually happened with the exam results, and where does this leave the agent hunt?
Well, the good news, I guess, is that despite everything, no second years got expelled. The lowest combined score was 579, comfortably above the 501 passing mark. So disaster averted on that front.
A relief for some, I bet. But Ayanokouji's actions during the test were interesting too, weren't they?
Oh yeah. He deliberately got a perfect 100 on the math test. A subject Horikita is also really good at.
Showing off. Or sending a message.
Definitely sending a message. He admits he didn't hold back, knowing it would get noticed, especially by Tsukishiro. It's like a little warning shot. Here's a tiny glimpse of what I can do.
And Horikita. How did she take it?
She scored high too, like 87. But She apparently had to grudgingly admit Ayanokouji was just that better. It subtly shifts their power dynamic again. And his interactions with Kai, his girlfriend.
Yeah, he tries to help her study,
Yeah.
and it just highlights how much she struggles academically. They realize she really needs a proper study group fast.
And Amasawa shows up again.
Right. Amasawa comes back, supposedly for a hair tie she left behind when he cooked for her. But then she makes this casual comment about Ayanokouji having a cute girlfriend, meaning Kai.
Stirring the pot.
Seems like it. It definitely makes Key suspicious about what exactly happened during that whole cooking thing. Adds more intrigue around Amasawa.
So the hunt for the agent is still very much on. Ayanokouji's still eyeing Nanas and Amasawa.
Definitely. Nanaza's strange knowledge and directness, Amasawa's overly familiar, almost theatrical approach. Both keep them high on his suspect list.
But Tsukishiro saying the agent disobeyed orders. That's the crucial piece, isn't it? What does that imply?
It's huge. It means this agent isn't just some tool following instructions. They might be running wild, as the source puts it, maybe pursuing their own agenda, pulling strings.
An independent operator, possibly. Tsukishiro even warns Ayanokouji. He says the agent might feel jealousy and hatred towards Ayanokouji, the supposed magnum opus of the White Room, that their actions could be unpredictable, driven by personal feelings.
So it's not just about expulsion anymore. It could be something more personal, more twisted.
That's the implication. Maybe they want to prove they're superior, or maybe inflict something worse than just getting them kicked out. A longer game of torment, perhaps?
Wow. So, yeah, what a start to the second year at Advanced Nurturing High. Just absolutely wild. You've got the OAA app, putting everyone's abilities out there, these high-stakes partnerships, secret plots. This school is just something else.
It really is something else. The key takeaway for me from this early phase is how every single thing is weaponized. Ayanokouji getting stabbed becomes leverage. The first years knowing their value isn't just confidence, it's a tactical advantage. It forces everyone constantly to treat social dynamics like a battlefield. It's this brutal, non-stop curriculum in manipulation and psychology.
It really leaves you thinking, right, if this White Room agent is acting independently now, maybe out of jealousy or some personal vendetta against Ayanokouji, what could they possibly do next? What's their real goal?
Exactly.
And how does Ayanokouji, who can clearly manipulate scores and situations when he wants to, deal with that kind of unpredictable threat? On top of everything else,
What?
while still trying to seem normal.
It really makes you wonder. In a system like this, designed to push everyone to their absolute limit, what actually constitutes power? Is it the abilities everyone can see on the OAA app? Or is it the stuff happening in the shadows, the hidden plans, the unseen depths of someone's character? Something to chew on until our next deep dive.